Swami Niti Namine. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Jai Pataka Swami Niti Namine. Nama Acharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Pradayine Gaura Katha Dhamadaya Nagara Grama Tarine. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. We'd love to welcome all of our Facebook Live viewers, all of our viewers on YouTube Live, and our viewers on Zoom. We welcome all of you to this day 22 of Sri Vraja Mandala Parikrama.
And we'd like to congratulate the devotees who have participated in yesterday's quiz session.
The names are Mother Flavia, Sarojamukhi Indulekha Mataji, Brinda Gopika Mataji, Satya Rani Mataji, Hari Prasad Prabhu, Nutan Purohit Mataji, and Surit. Congratulations to all of you, and our heartfelt gratitude to all of you for participating in the quiz session.
Can we have the slideshow, please? Yesterday we went from Khelavan to Sheshashai to Shergarh while walking through Bari Baitan, Choti Baitan, wonderful darshan of Charan Pahari, the lotus feet of Krishna. Today we will continue our Sri Vrajamandal Parikrama and walk from Shergarh to Chirghat. And on the way we'll go to Ramghat, to Khelavan, Viharvan, Akshayavat, Tapovan, Katyayani temple, and stay in the night at Chirghat. Today we would walk around 24 kilometers. Okay, next slide, please. As you can see here, we are on the top there at Shergarh, and from Shergarh we'll turn towards the left to Ramghat and then come back again and go towards Chirghat on the bank of the Jamuna. We are now walking almost along the bank of Jamuna for the next couple of days, and tomorrow we will cross the Jamuna to go to the other side of towards the Vrindavan side of the Jamuna.
And actually, here on this side of the Jamuna, where we are currently right now, we saw 7 forests. 7 forests are on this side of the Jamuna, and the 5 other forests, the 12 out of the 12 main forests of Sri Vrajamandala, the 5 other forests are found on the other side of the Jamuna. So that's how we will, we understand this entire Vrajamandala. 7 on this side, 5 on the other side of the Jamuna.
Next slide, please. As you can see here in the next slide, how we are going from Shergarh to Ramghat. Then we are retracing our steps back and then go to Chirghat, very near Jamuna. Next slide, please. So we are walking from Shergarh, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki jai, Shri Vrajamandal Parikrama ki jai. They are our leaders here in the service of Srila Prabhupada. We are following them. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. And now we go to Ramghat. While walking, the first place we reach is Ramghat. That lies on the bank of Jamuna, as we saw. It's 2 miles east of Shergarh, and this Ramghat is actually Balaram Ghat. Balaramji, he performed his rasa dance here. Therefore, this is known as Ramghat. In fact, after having stayed in Dwarka for a very, very long time, and after leaving Sri Vrindavan Dham, Krishna sent Balaramji back to Vrindavan to relieve the Vrajbasis of their intense feelings of separation from him. So even though Krishna had left Vrindavan, he never left thinking about the Vrajbasis. He would keep sending different people. He sent Balaramji, he sent Uddhava, giving his message to them. Next slide, please. Balaramji, he is Rama, which means the giver of pleasure to his devotees. And when he went there to Vrindavan, he infused new life into the inhabitants of Vraja by his presence there. At that time, Balaramji came here at Ramghat with the gopis of Vrindavan and performed his rasa dance with his gopis. There are some Balaram gopis, there are Krishna gopis. So we must understand here that the gopis with whom Lord Balaram enjoyed his rasa dance are a completely separate set of gopis. They are not Krishna's gopis. And when Balaramji performed this rasa dance in the full moon night, he was completely intoxicated with Varuni beverage. And so he desired to enjoy the company of his gopis in the waters of Yamuna. So he ordered Yamuna in his intoxicated state. Yamuna, come nearby. Next slide, please. Now, Jamuna Devi, she considered Balaram, he's intoxicated. Probably he doesn't know what he is saying. I should come from where I am. I should come towards where Balaramji is performing rasa dance. I mean, that it just defies all the laws of nature. And so she ignored Balaramji's orders. Lord Balaram became very angry, very displeased. Balaramji, he took his plow and scratched the land near the river at Ramghat. Next slide, please. Very slightly with his plow, he just scratched the land. And then when Jamuna felt threatened, when she was threatened by Balramji in this way, Jamuna realized his great prowess, immediately came in person and fell at the feet of Balaramji, offering beautiful prayers, Jamuna, to Lord Balaram, right at this place at Ramghat. Next slide, please. Now, when Jamuna Devi displayed submissive attitude to Balaramji, she was forgiven. And when she came nearby, Lord Balaram enjoyed the pleasure of swimming with the gopis in her waters. So the temple that we see just behind the temple is the extended Jamuna, who was personally brought by Balaramji to Ramghat. This is not the regular place where Yamuna actually goes, but Balaramji pulled her here. Even today, Yamuna leaves her natural course and flows by the Ramghat. And this beautiful temple under the banyan tree is at Ramghat, which signifies the place where Balaramji performed his rasa dance. Next slide, please. This is the beautiful Khiche Dauji Dayal Maharaj. Khiche Dauji. Dauji means the elder brother of Krishna. Dayal means one who is very, very merciful. And Khiche, which means one who pulled Jamuna with his plow. Khiche means to pull. Khiche Dauji Dayal Maharaj ki jai. Next slide, please. We can have some more. This is the Sringar Darshan of Khiche Dauji Dayal Maharaj with Revati Devi. So at Ramghat here, we should pray to Balramji for spiritual strength, for overcoming all the obstacles of lust, envy, anger, pride, and illusion. This mercy of Lord Balaram flows through the spiritual master and previous acharyas. And our only hope is this mercy for overcoming these insurmountable obstacles. He said, we can also pray to Sri Nityananda Prabhu and Balramji to awaken in our hearts genuine feelings of loving surrender and to grant us the supreme benediction of tasting the nectar of the holy names of the Lord.
So maybe go back to the previous slide, please. We thank you. So we actually tried to look for a picture which is somewhat more clearer, but this is the best we could get. That you see this deity of Lord Balaram. He has, Anantashesh behind him is a small, very, very small marble, white marble deity. And here Balaramji with his left hand, on his left hand, he's actually holding a glass of Varuni, which is not seen here because he's wearing the dress like that. But he's near his chest. He actually has a glass of Varuni. And, with his right hand, he's giving blessing. So this is Khiche Dauji Dayal Maharaj Ki Jai, who is the beautiful deity of Lord Balaramji. And Lord Balaram, who is the, just like how, Dauji, Balaram, Srila Radharaman Maharaj says, here he told us one time that, Jamuna is going straight like this. Yes, she's actually going straight like this. But Dauji, he pulled her, like this. So it's a V. You can clearly see the V that she's cutting out into the stream. So Dauji is powerful to do anything. That is the wonderful potency of Dauji Maharaj. And just like how Dauji pulled Jamuna and pulled and changed her normal course of water, we pray here to Sri Dauji Maharaj that may he pull out all the negativities, all the anarthas that we have in our hearts, and may he just pull us, changing our normal course of action, may he pull us towards his lotus feet and engage us in the loving service of Guru and Krishna. This is our prayer to Sri Khiche Dauji Dayal Maharaj Ki Jai.
Next slide, please. And the next slide. From here, we go to Khelavan and Viharvan. In fact, Krishna would get up early in the morning, go with all of his cowherd boyfriends to the forest, where they would assemble together and take lunch. As soon as he got up from bed, Mother Yashoda would get him ready, like how she's doing here, and pack him up to the forest. Next slide. Keeping the calves before. So here Balaram is also helping Mother Yashoda in getting Krishna dressed.
And all the sakhas, they're waiting. Krishna, come on, let's go. Enough of your dressing, let's go.
So then, keeping the calves before them, they started for the forest in a great procession. Next slide, please. And they would all be equipped with a stick and a flute and a horn, as well as a lunch bag. And each of them was taking care of thousands of calves. Next slide, please. And all of these boys, they appeared so jolly and happy in that particular excursion. Each and every one of them, including Krishna, they were so attentive to personal calves as Krishna herded them in different places in the forest. And these boys, they were also beautifully decorated with various kinds of golden ornaments. But still, because of performing sporting activities, they began to pick up flowers and leaves and twigs and peacock feathers and red clay from different places in the forest, and they would further decorate themselves in different ways. Some would come put some red clay on themselves on their forehead as tilak, and then some would put leaves and twigs on their ears. Flowers would be hanging from their ears at so many different places. And then they would say, "How am I looking? How am I looking?" and and they would look at their reflection in the pond. So all these different things they were doing while passing through this forest. One boy would then steal another boy's lunch package, and then he would pass it to the third and would say, "Well, I don't have it." So when the boy whose lunch packet was stolen came to know, he would try to take it back, but the boy had given it to another boy. So this way they were just sporting and playing as childhood pastimes. Next slide, please. And then Krishna came here to this distant place. Imagine, from Nanda Maharaj's palace in Nandagaon, he's coming all the way to Khelavan, passing Shergarh, Sheshashai, that huge walk from Kokilavan. All of that, of course, he knew many shortcuts. He didn't follow the way we went. We are following Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's path. But Krishna knew several shortcuts. And so.
And also remember,
yes,
the dham can shrink on Krishna's desire. Remember the lotus flower? So Krishna would say, shrink. And then he would be immediately there. From Nandagaon, he would immediately come to near Akshayavat and Khelavan.
And then Krishna would say, come, come, I'll show you some beautiful scenery here. And all the calves would come, all the cowherd boyfriends would come. And the boys, they would run behind him, try to catch him and be the first to touch him. And so there was a great competition. But this competition was a spiritual competition. There is a difference. We see that when the boys would run towards Krishna to see who would catch first, their mood would be, I will run the fastest, but my goal is come to last, is so that I come last. I'm running fast so that it inspires others to do better than me. I don't want to run fast because I want to be first. I want to run fast so that I am last. And this way, Krishna gets the greatest pleasure of everyone running faster towards him. Similarly, when we are performing some services, in ISKCON or some devotional service, we should not be in material competition with other devotees who are performing the same service. We should be in spiritual competition. If we are distributing books, yes, we should try to distribute as many books as possible, but with the goal that let me come last, let me inspire others. Seeing my book distributions, others would be inspired to do better than me. That is my goal. And if I come last, that is very good, because the minimum books distributed would be so many. And Srila Prabhupada would be happy. Then it is spiritual competition. So all the cowherd boys, that's why they would not fight with each other who came before Krishna, who could not. Internally, their mood was Krishna should be pleased. And I am your servant. You go before me. But I will not let you go before me unless you really, really try hard. So I'm going to inspire you by running as fast as I can so that you can run faster than me and beat me and go to Krishna fast. So then one of them would say, I'll go there and touch Krishna. Another would say, no, you cannot go. I'll touch Krishna first. Let's see. And some of them, they played on their flutes or they vibrated so many bugles like a bullhorn, buffalo horn. It seemed like conch shell blowing, but it was a buffalo horn. Some of them would then gladly, they would follow the peacocks. They would imitate the sounds of the cuckoo. So many different ways, and the birds were flying in the sky. The boys would run after the bird's shadow along the ground, and they would try to follow the exact courses of how the bird's shadow is flowing. Then some of them went to the monkeys. They would silently sit beside them. And then some of them, they started dancing, imitating the dance of the peacocks. Next slide, please. Then some of them, they would come, as here we see Krishna is imitating the dance of the peacock, and all of them are trying to do the same thing. Some of them would go near the monkeys and they would catch their tail and they would play. And when the monkeys would jump into the tree, the boys would follow the monkey into the tree. And then the monkey would show its teeth and face. Next slide, please. Like that. And the boys, they would imitate and show their teeth to the monkey. Some of the boys, they would play with the frogs. And on the bank of the Yamuna, and out of the fear, when the frogs would jump into the water, the boys would immediately dive in after them And then the boys would come out of the water, they would see their own shadows, they would just stand imitating, making different caricatures, making different funny faces, and then laughing at themselves. Such was the carefree, fun, frolic life, because they knew Krishna is with them. And then they would go to an empty well, making loud sounds. In fact, one time Dinabandhu Prabhu said they would go into the well at Brahmanda Ghat. He was giving a lecture right in front of a well. He went to the well. He said Krishna and his friends would come and they would loudly shout bad words into the well. And then the well, those words would echo and they would call it ill names and then laugh. So here, this is how in Khelavan and Viharvan, Krishna and Balaram would perform so many different pastimes. Next slide, please. Here, Krishna would also perform intimate pastimes with the gopis and Srimati Radharani as well.
We offer our respectful obeisances here at Khelavan, at Viharvan, that how Krishna would play with the sakhas. And, this entire snippet that we just shared with all of you is taken directly from the Krishna book, as is written by Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada revealed, in the Krishna book, how Krishna would play in the Khelavan, in Viharvan, what all he would do, how he would spend his day with the cowherd boys. So here we can roll on the dust of Khelavan and we can just immerse ourselves in the wonderful dust of Sri Khelavan and Viharvan.
Next slide, please. So now, from Viharvan and Khelavan, we come to this beautiful place, Akshayavat.
So this Akshayavata is the place where Krishna and Balaram and all the cowherd boys, they would hang their, potli or their bundle, Mother Jashoda and all the mothers of the cowherd boys, they would pack the lunch of the boys in a little cloth and would tie it up in a bundle and they would give it to the boys. So when they would play around, they would not be able to play around with that, that lunch, bundle with them. So what would they do? It is said that they would actually, next slide, please. This is the Akshayavata, very, very beautiful place, Akshayavat.
You can see that the branches are going down into the roots of the banyan tree, Vatvraksha.
The banyan tree here, beautiful, beautiful. And this Akshayavata, it is 5,000 years old. And this Akshayavata became Akshay, means it became like it's alive for 5,000 years. And the reason it is alive is because Krishna touched this particular tree. Krishna would hang his, prasad here in the potli, in the lunch. He would hang it here on this tree, and Krishna would actually hold on to the roots, these huge branches, and he would swing. He would swing here, do a lot of swing pastimes here with the cowherd boys. Next slide, please. So it is said that, so this is how we enter into Akshayavat area. It is actually, in the middle of the fields. It is middle of the fields. This Akshayavata is there. And then after Akshayavat, we again have to just cross through several fields. There is only walking. We cannot take any other, means of travel. You can only walk and there's no other way we can come here. This is the only way we can come. So no car, no, nothing else can go here. It's just walking between fields, basically. Next slide, please. So Akshayvat, this is the way the potli would look, or the little bundle of prasad that Krishna would get and all the cowherd boys would get. So what they would do is they would hang it under the branch, on the branches of the Akshayavata tree. And because the shade of the tree was so cooling, the cool breeze would come. It is said, Srila Radharaman Maharaj explained that the prasad would actually remain very, very fresh. Some boys would bring buttermilk, and because of the cool shade of the Akshayavata, The buttermilk would also, it would be like refrigerator. It would be so nice and chill when the boys would, drink the buttermilk that they would bring in a little, earthen pot like that. So they would very expertly tie this so that nothing would fall, and they would nicely hang it over here, and then they would sit and eat under this very tree. Next slide, please. So here you can see the cowherd boy. He has that little sack, little bundle, and then they would hang up each of their bundles of food on this particular Akshayavata tree. So
And
one
then,
time,
when Krishna and Balaram and their friends, they were engaged in these different pastimes under the natural refrigerator tree of Akshay, but the cows, they were unobserved, and they began to wander off on their own without anyone noticing because they were so engaged in their own pastimes. And these cows, they entered farther and farther into the deepest part of the forest because there was fresh grass in that area. So they were allured, the goats, the cows, and the buffaloes. They all traveled from one forest to another. This forest that they came was full of green grass. So they were allured. But when they entered, they started feeling hot and some heat started coming. They realized there is a forest fire, and all of these cows and goats and buffaloes, they started screaming. They began to cry. Oh. And on the other side, Balaram and Krishna, along with their friends, they could not find their animals. And so they heard their cries. Very, very aggrieved. They started tracing the cows, following their footprints. Sometimes here, sometimes there. Krishna said, "Don't worry, just follow me." And all the boys, they were fearing that their means of livelihood, the cows, they were now all lost. What will we go back and tell our parents? They were searching the cows in the forest. They themselves became tired, themselves became thirsty. Again, they heard the crying of the cows, and Krishna began to call with the cows by their respective names: Neeli, Peeli, Shyama, come. And the cows, they immediately replied with hope and joy: Krishna is here, Krishna is here. By this time, the forest fire had surrounded all of them, and the situation was very, very fearful. The flames, they increased because as the wind started blowing, flames started leaping up in the sky. And it appeared that everything movable, immovable will be devoured by this forest fire. Next slide, please. And then all the cows and the boys, they became frightened. They looked toward Balaram, Krishna. It is said they looked just like a dying man looks at the picture of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in helpless surrender. Krishna, Krishna, you and Balaram are so powerful. We are now burning from this heat of this blazing fire. Please let us take shelter of your lotus feet. We know you can protect us from this great danger. Our dear friend Krishna, we are your intimate friends. It's not right that we should suffer in this way. We are completely dependent on you and you alone. You are the knower of all religious life. We do not know anyone except you. This is the prayer that we should pray when we feel ourselves in danger and completely depend on Krishna. Do not know anyone except you. When Krishna heard the appealing voices of his friends and casted a pleasing glance over them, he began to answer through his eyes. He impressed upon his friends, "Don't fear, no fear." He assured them, "Don't worry, close your eyes." And then Krishna, the supreme mystic, the supreme personality of Godhead, went, he immediately swallowed up all of the flames of the fire. Now imagine, you can see the cowherd boys behind. They are closing their eyes. Imagine if we are surrounded by fire, and if someone says, close your eyes. It's so difficult to close our eyes in that danger. If we close our eyes, anything can happen. But they had that faith in Krishna. Krishna said, don't worry, close your eyes. And they did that. This indicates that when we are in danger and asking Krishna for help, when we are completely dependent, we must follow his instructions. And Krishna is asking them to close their eyes so that they do not fear anymore, so that they do not speculate. Closing eyes is symbolic of do not speculate. Do not think what's going to happen in future. Don't think how we are in this particular situation. Just focus on me and I will take care of it. You don't have to worry about how. Just have faith, I will. And when we give that indication to Krishna, yes, Krishna, I have faith in you. I will now close my eyes and it's all dependent on you. Then Krishna goes, next slide, please. He just swallows the fire. We just give up our false ego, our false pride of trying to get out of the situation ourselves and just depend on Krishna. Somehow Krishna will take us out of this situation. And the cows and the boys were so saved from this imminent danger. Next slide, please. Some of the boys, out of fear, they were almost unconscious, but when they regained their consciousness and opened their eyes, they saw they were in front of Akshayavat with Krishna, Balaram, and the cows. Next slide, please. They were astonished to see. They were completely free from the attack. Where is the blazing fire? Cows are here. We thought. Krishna said, don't worry. Everything's okay. I'm here. We are where we were at Akshayavat. Forget about everything else. So this is what Krishna does. We close our eyes. We have faith in Krishna. We open our eyes and everything is hunky-dory. Shri Krishna Bhagavan ki jai. Next slide, please.
Then Krishna Balaram, they wonderfully enjoyed the cooling, nice prasad, sitting down under the Akshayavata and nicely enjoying their afternoon meal, joking and laughing and talking with each other and just forgetting. Look at the cows. Even the cows have forgotten that they were just imminent, they were saved from such a grave, dangerous position by Krishna. This is the mercy of Krishna, that Krishna is always there to protect. He will never ever let any calamity befall upon his dear devotees. This is how we can be joyful. Srila Prabhupada always says, Krishna consciousness is joyfully performed. So therefore, this is how we can be joyful in the association of Sri Krishna. Next slide, please. So now we walk further down from Akshayavat, offering our obeisances. In fact, when we were there last year, we remember that we did Dandavat Pranam around Akshayavat.
So I would perform Dandavat Pranam. Where I would end, Kalasudha would perform Dandavat Pranam. Then where she would end, that's where I would start performing. So this way we did like a couple Dandavat Pranam Parikrama of the Akshayavat. And it was very, very satisfying.
Very, very wonderful. Jai. Shri Akshayavat ki jai. So walking through the fields now, we come to this very, very enchanting place. It is the Tapobhumi, or the place of austerities, where the gopis, they performed severe austerities here to, in order to please Mother Katyayani and, receive Krishna as their husband. It is said that, in the month which comes right after Kartik, is the month of Margashirsha, which is also called as Agrahayana. The gopis performed very, very severe tapasya, very severe austerities. And they would get up early in the morning and they would come in this very cold, November, December is extremely cold. And in that cold month, they would come every day in the morning, early morning, and they would take bath in the chilly waters of Jamuna. And after taking their bath, they would actually come and worship goddess Katyayani. So let us take darshan of Tapovan. Let's come to the next slide, please. So this is an aerial view. You see, Tapovan is the place which is, surrounded by the trees. So it's very, very serene place. Once we enter into Tapovan, we feel that we have entered into a different realm. Actually, the calmness, the peacefulness, the serenity of the place just touches us. It literally happens. So this is that area which is right on the banks of the Jamuna, that is called as Tapovan, where the gopis performed severe austerities to please goddess Katyayani so that they could get Krishna as their husband. Next slide, please. So this is a live picture of the actual Tapovan area. We can see the Jamuna flowing on the side. So this is Tapovan. Let us actually take the dust of the Tapovan Bhumi upon our head. If you can, please roll on this dust. This dust has the, the dust of the lotus feet of the gopis. So let us really try to imbibe that mood of the gopis here at Sri Tapovan. Next slide, please. So here we take darshan of Sri Sri Radha Tapovan Bihari Ji ki jai. So here Srimati Radharani is residing here with Sri Tapovan Bihari Ji.
Here we pray to the gopis, to Sri Sri Radha Tapovan Bihari Ji, to please allow us to do our tapasya, our sadhana very, very sincerely, so we can get up early in the morning and chant your holy names sincerely and attentively. Serve the Vaishnavas as a tapasya and as wonderful opportunity, and to preach as part of our sadhana and seva to you.
Jai Shri Radha Tapovan Bihari Ji ki jai. From Tapovan, now we will go and take darshan directly of Mother Jamuna. Next slide, please. So we actually walk along the banks of the Jamuna. We walk to our next destination, which is the Katyayani temple, which is in Chirghat. The place name is Chirghat. So we are walking along the banks of the Jamuna. So please let us go down to the Jamuna. Let us sprinkle our, the water of the Jamuna upon our head. Some devotees take very wonderful path. Right at Chirghat, there's a nice bathing ghat, which is very easy to go down to the Jamuna and take a bath here at Chirghat. So all of the unmarried gopis in Vrindavan, they used to daily worship goddess Katyayani early in the morning after taking their bath in the river Jamuna. Next slide, please. Katyayani, as you can see here in this picture, Katyayani is actually another name of goddess Durga. She's here, although goddess Durga is actually Mahamaya, but here in Vrindavan, she is considered to be Yogamaya. This is very, very special. Katyayani Devi is considered to be Yogamaya, and, of course, she's a manifestation of goddess Durga, who is actually Mahamaya, but here in Vrindavan Dham, she is considered to be Yogamaya. Very special. So the goddess Katyayani is worshipped by, the gopis would take their bath in the Jamuna every day in the morning, and they would make a deity of Katyayani Devi with the sands of the Jamuna, and then they would worship this Katyayani Devi with sandalwood pulp, with garlands, with incense, with lamps, and with all kinds of, food preparations, with fruits, with grain, and with different other ingredients they would worship. And they would pray for just one thing. It is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam in the 10th canto, chapter 22, in verse 4, that the gopis would pray, O supreme external energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, O Katyayani Devi, O Goddess, please be kind to us and arrange for our marriage with the son of Maharaj Nanda, our beloved Krishna. So please repeat after us. Katyayani Mahamaye,
Katyayani Mahamaye,
Mahayogini Adhishwari,
Mahayogini Adhishwari,
Nandagopa Sutam Devi,
Nandagopasutam Devi,
Patim me kurute namaha.
Patim me kurute namaha.
Jai Shri Katyayani Devi ki
Jai.
jai. Next slide, please. So this is the way that, the gopis, they would worship Goddess Katyayani. Just look at the sincerity early in the morning, taking bath in the chilly waters of the Jamuna. And then right at the banks of the Jamuna, the gopis are all nicely worshipping Goddess Katyayani with just one desire, not for just their own marriage with anyone or for a nice boy, but they wanted Nanda Gopa Sutam Dev, the son of Maharaj Nanda should be our pati, should be our husband. So this is the reason why Katyayani Vrata is done. It is done for getting Krishna as our husband. That is how the gopis perform this Katyayani Vrata. Next slide, please. So this is how, again, different ways that the gopis are praying. Just see, they're praying that Krishna, who is there as a shadow in the back, they're praying that please let that same Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, be our husband.
So whenever we pray to any devatas, we should follow the mood of the gopis. We should respect the devatas, devis and devatas, the demigods, demigoddesses. But when we worship them first, two things to take care. First, we are worshipping them as devotees of Krishna, that they are great devotees of Krishna. And second, therefore, we ask these great Devi Devatas, these great devotees of Krishna, the benediction we ask is pure devotion to Lord Krishna. If we are able to follow these two rules, then we can worship the Devis and Devatas in the proper attitude which will please them and also please Krishna.
Jai Shri Katyayani Devi ki jai. Next slide, please. So then we come to this very beautiful temple, which is the temple of, it's written here in Sanskrit, Jai Shri Katyayani Ma. This is the way the temple is currently, and a very beautiful deity. Shall we take darshan? Next slide, please. So we take darshan of Shri Katyayani Devi at Chirghat. This is how the Katyayani Devi looks here at Chirghat. Very beautiful, very sweet, very loving, very merciful. And let us again pray here to Katyayani Devi to give us pure devotion to Shri Krishna. Jai Shri Katyayani Devi ki jai. Next slide, please.
So this is the place, Chirghat, one of the most enchanting places on the banks of river Yamuna. This is where the famous pastime of Krishna stealing the clothes of the young gopis of Vrindavan took place. Krishna, he was so pleased with the gopis, and they were praying that Nanda Sutta, Nanda Gopa Sutam Devi, Patim me kurute namaha. They had prayed to Katyayani Devi, may we get Krishna as our husbands. So then Krishna came to fulfill each of their desires. And here there is an ancient Kadamba tree, which is still existing since the time of Lord Krishna, they say. And the gopis since they are all pure devotees of Krishna and wanted to attain Krishna as their husband, at this very place, they performed the Katyayani Vrata. And as we said, they would worship Mother Katyayani. Every day, the gopis would come to this ghat to take their baths and worship Mother Katyayani. And then Krishna very mercifully satisfied their desire by stealing their clothes on the last day when they were taking of their Katyayani Vrata, when they were taking their bath at this ghat, and brought them upon this. All those clothes were then hung on this Kadamba tree. Devotees of Vrindavan, they still worship this tree, make offerings to this tree, because it is touched by the lotus feet of Krishna, by the lotus garments of the gopis. Next slide, please. It is said that one can understand the pastimes of the Lord only by hearing from great souls who have realized the absolute truth. And this pastime of Krishna stealing the clothes of the gopis, to some people it may seem mundane affair between what is a young boy teasing some girls, but the real import of this pastime is very, very deep. Next slide, please. It is the epitome of the surrender of the soul to the Supreme Lord by giving up even the attachment for the outer coverings of the clothes, our subtle and gross body, and our false ego, that we are surrendering to Krishna, which is symbolized by the clothes of the gopis. And the soul, if we have to be surrendered, we have to give up all of our attachments and false ego. All of our bodily identification has to go away. And then we can realize Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as our life and soul. Next slide, please. This is again, we will see the Kadamba tree. Do you all want to have darshan of this Kadamba tree from where Krishna stood and stole the clothes of the gopis? Drum rolls, please. Next slide. And we see the wonderful Kadamba tree at Chirghat, which is overlooking the Jamuna, which is where Krishna sat and stole the gopis' clothes. So at this place, we make a prayer to Krishna. Next slide, please. Krishna, here at Chirghat, I offer my life. I offer my false ego, my body, my mind, my words, thoughts, everything. Please take it all away so that my true self can be given to you as an offering to your lotus feet. We should be confident that if we offer our prayers sincerely unto this holy Kadamba tree, which is a Kalpavriksha tree, a wish-fulfilling tree, our prayers will definitely be heard and answered.
So the gopis' desire, just the way Krishna fulfilled the desires of the gopis, how did he do that? Next slide, please. By fulfilling each of their desires, by dancing so wonderfully with each and every one of the gopis during the rasa dance. And each gopi thought that, oh, Krishna is with me. He's fulfilled my desire. Krishna is with me. So one devotee, one of our acharyas, he says that when we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it is like we are taking part in the Rasa Leela of the Lord. Because we say at the head beat of Krishna, we say Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, we say our Guru Pranam Mantra, we say the Panchatattva Pranam Mantra, and then we start chanting Hare Krishna Mantra. So we are taking the touch of Krishna and we are going to the next beat. We are going to the next beat. We are going to the next beat. The 108 beats signify the 108 gopis. So we are taking the touch of Krishna to each and every gopi. So actually when we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra on our japa beats every day, Krishna is actually allowing us to participate in this wonderful Rasa Leela of his. We are facilitating that. We are allowed to participate in this. So this way we should understand that our sincerity, when we are sincerely chanting our japa, then we can get this, we can receive this, you know, this absolute mercy of the Lord. We can realize that when we chant, we are actually participating in Sri Krishna's Rasa Leela. Jai Shri Shri Rasa Leela ki jai.
Shri Chirghat ki
Jai.
Here at Chirghat, something very memorable happened. When I was here sitting in the Chirghat, all the Matajis, of course, were asked to take bath in the Jamuna at that time, but all of us Prabhujis were just sitting on the bank outside near the temple, near Katyayani temple. And as I was sitting and chanting, a Vrajbasi came and he sat next to me. And he started asking me, who are you? Where are you from? And who all are there in your family? And where have you come? How many of you have come here? So many different things he started asking. And then he started telling about himself. And then after we took the darshan, then he came, started walking with us because we were going from Chirghat to our camp, walking back. And he was telling so many different things about the life of the Brajbasis. And then he told us, Kalasudha and myself, I would ask you for one thing, that you have come to this Brajamandal. This is Krishna's Brajabhumi. All the Brajbasis are Krishna's friends and sakhas. Before you go, the main purpose of your coming to Vraja Mandal Parikrama is to associate with the Brajbasis. So before you leave Vrajadham, just I would say just make one friend, one family as your friend, one Vrajbasi family as your friend. You can make before you leave, so that keep in touch with them, and that way you will remember Vraja, even when Vrajadham, even when you go back to your respective places. You were like, yeah, that's very interesting. That's very, thank you for that instruction. So this was a Vrajbasi's suggestion. We took it as an instruction, and of course uh, we paid some donation to that Vrajbasi, but we kept thinking about that instruction. And then in Bhandiravan, which we will go the next day, tomorrow, Krishna arranged for us to come in touch and be in touch with a wonderful family of Vrajbasis in Bhandiravan, which we will talk about tomorrow. Shri Vrajamandal Parikrama ki jai. Next slide, please. So here we started from Shergarh, went to Ramghat, Viharvan, so many different places, Khelavan, and finally to Chirghat. Next slide, please. As you can see, these are all places very on the same side of Yamuna as Vrindavan is. So actually, when we come to Chirghat, it's very close to Vrindavan, but we will actually cross Yamuna and go to the other 5 forests before we reach Vrindavan back and complete the whole lotus flower of Sri Vrajamandal Parikrama. So in honor of, because we went to Sri Ramghat, we would like to chant Sri Balaram Stotra Kavacha, which is actually compiled by Sri Krishna Dvaipayan Vyasadeva. This song, which is named Goloka Dhamadhipati Pareshvara. Actually, the official name is Balabhadra Stotra Kavacha. It is in the Canto 8, Chapter 12 of Garga Samhita. And this kavacha of Lord Balaram is the best of all the kavachas, all the armors. Adhipati Pareshvara Mandalam Sarso Pavan Vinashayane Yan Murtima
Sena Sumam Rashadu Sirapani Yudhe Sadara Shatumam Balicha Durgeshu Chandya Vasani Sadama Aneshu Sankar Shanadideva Kalinda Jave Gaharo Jaleshu Neelambarora Shatumam Sadamam Vaya Charamo Vatukhe Palastra Mamarnavinam Tavapu Sadamam Shri Vasudeva Vatuparvateshu Sahasra Shirsha Chamahavimade Rogeshu Amra Chaturanideyo Mam Kamapalo Vatuvadipatsu Kamat Sadara Shatudvenukari Krodhat Sadama Dvividha Prahati Lobhat Sadara Shatubavarani Mohat Sadama Kilamakadari Prata Sadara Shatuvrishni Purya Prane Sadama Mathura Purendra Madhyandinego Pasakya Prabhatu Swarat Parane Vatubam Sadaiva Sayam Fanindro Vatubam Sadaiva Parat Parora Shatumam Pradoshe Purne Nishite Cheduranta Vira Pratyusha Kale Vatumam Sadaiva Videshu Mamra Shaturevati Pate Dikshu Pralamba Riratho Yadupa Urdhvam Sadama Balabhadrahara Tatha Samantat Baladevayadi Anta Sadaya Yat Purushot Tottamo Vahi Nayendra Lilo Vatvam Mahabala Sadantaratma Javasanna Hari Swayam Prabhatu Pura Parameshwaro Maha Devasurana Bhayanashanam Cha Utashanam Pachayendrananam Vinashanam Ve Nagatasya Viti Siddhasanam Varmavalam Balasya Shri Balaram Stotra Kavacham Ki Jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So now we'll discuss the quiz questions for today, and then go for opening the lines for questions and comments. First question: what pastimes were performed by Lord Balaram at Ramghat? Second, what's the name of Lord Balaram's deity at Ramghat?
Third, how did Khelavan get its name? Fourth, what's the significance of Akshayavat and how old is it?
Fifth, what's the analogy given with respect to Lord Krishna swallowing forest fire? Sixth, where did the gopis worship Katyayani Devi and what was their prayer?
Seventh, who is Katyayani Devi and what is her identity in Vrindavan? Eighth, what's the right mood to worship devatas?
Ninth, how can we relate our japa to the Rasa Leela pastime?
Haribol, these are fantastic questions. So maybe please open the lines for questions and comments. Hare Krishna, anyone? Bhakti Priya.
Hare Krishna Mataji and Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, all the Shishya Prabhupada.
Hare
So
Krishna.
today I have one doubt that there were two Krishnas. One Devaki Mai gave birth to one Krishna and Yashoda Mai gave birth to one Krishna. So which Krishna is doing all these pastimes in Vrindavan with gopis and gopas? And where is another one Krishna? What he was doing?
It is said, very nice question, Beta. It is said that both Krishnas actually had become one. When Vasudev brought from Mathura, Vasudev Krishna. So Vasudev Krishna became one with Vrindavan Krishna. And it is said that Vrindavan Krishna, the only thing that Vrindavan Krishna does is actually play his flute and enjoy pastimes with the gopas and the gopis. And whenever it was time for Krishna to kill any demons, that time the Vasudev Krishna would come out and kill the demons and then come back again. So all the pleasure pastimes that are done, they are done by Vrindavan Krishna, Vrindavan Indra Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji. Hari Bol.
Krishna, thank you, Beta. And Judy?
Hare Krishna, Jai Shri Radhe.
Jai Shri Radhe.
Really, I missed 3-4 days. I just couldn't connect. Okay, so first I have one things to share with you. It is a beautiful thing when you were narrating about Brijvasis, and it just flashed back. My father is no more. 11 years back, he passed away. And by Krishna's grace, his name was Shamsundar, born on Janmashtami, and my mother's name is Krishna. And I was just feeling so blessed, being born in Bridge, born in Vrindavan, brought up in Mathura, still association, so much of association by Krishna's grace. All my both bhabis are from Bridge, from Mathura only, and all our relatives are in Mathura and Vrindavan. And my father's, he was very unwell, and he had a major heart stroke, and he was in the hospital, and he was on ventilator. He just called me and my brother and just said, I have only one wish. When doctor says nothing is there, just take me back to Mathura. I want to take my last breath in Braj only. And he was in Delhi Apollo Escort Hospital. And by Krishna's grace, and we just told the doctor the thing, when you feel, when he's saying, and by Krishna's grace, like doctor just came to us and then said after 21 days that also, yeah, I think so. It's multiple failure now, and you can just take him. We could arrange the ventilator, the ambulance. He came, he lay down in his room in Mathura. He saw everything, and within 5 minutes, he passed away. So what a mercy and what a thing! Like, his determination was so strong that Krishna fulfilled it. So, like, it was just coming in my mind, and I was just wondering, like, he was really a blessed soul. And we always celebrated his birthday on Janmashtami, and every, like, it, for us it was a very, very grand celebration. Papa's birthday plus Krishna's birthday. So it was so wonderful, and I was just wondering, like, आप सच्चे दिल से चाहो तो भगवान सब कुछ करते हैं, सब कुछ करते हैं. बस जैसे अभी आप बोल रहे थे, कितना अच्छे से समझा रहे थे कि we have just to surrender ourselves to him completely. Like the story of that thing, आँख बंद करो and the thing. And I have seen the living example of my father. He had so much of, he always used to tell us, just have faith in Krishna. Just have faith in Krishna. Just surrender and he will do the needful. You don't need to worry. And I saw him living that. And it was so wonderful. It's so, like, it's so true actually. I think so that our generation should just believe in this completely, and the new generations. It is so beautiful. I have one question which has come up from my mother-in-law, and I just want to know that what is the difference between Vanprasthan and sannyas?
Oh. Yeah, that's a very nice question. There are, according to Varnashram Dharma, 4 Varna, 4 Ashram. 4 Ashram are Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. And typically, if someone has 100 years of life, it's 25% is Brahmachari, 25 years is after that Grihastha, then 25 years Vanaprastha, 25 years Sannyas. So the ultimate purpose is that purpose of human form of life is to absorb ourselves in the hearing and chanting of the Lord. And for that, we are trained for the first 25 years as in the brahmachari ashram time. Then in the grihastha ashram, we regulate our senses, and in regulation, we live as grihasthas. Then, after all, by 50 years of age, most of the responsibilities, children are grown up, and the husband and wife, vanaprastha is vanprasthan, which means to go into the forest. So traditionally, vanaprastha means to leave the family, and the husband and wife, they together go to vana, to forest, and live just on the maintenance of the Lord. Whatever the Lord provides is there, and rest of the time is just on focusing on hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord.
No
And
social commitments.
No social,
basically.
no social commitments, and no social, so that we don't engage our time in that. Whatever time is saved from the social life, we can engage it in hearing and chanting, because that's the purpose of human form of life. And then for 25 years of that, after that, the husband leaves the wife in care of the male members of the family, the son or nephews or anyone else. And then the wife continues remembering the Lord on her own, and the husband takes sannyas in that way. And now it's completely, the sannyas mantra is the mantra that is given to a dead body, which means socially he's completely dead. Now he's completely as if he's a dead person. No other, all the family members consider that sannyasi is dead. For them, he only interacts with the society for spiritual uh, exchanges, gives them strength in spiritual life and things like that. So this is vanaprastha sannyas. Now in Kali Yuga, it's very difficult to, this whole system is completely broken. So what is recommended is Daivi Varnashram system. Daivi Varnashram system means wherever we are, whichever position we are in, we just put Krishna in the center. And even if we are living in a home, if we can put Krishna in the center and always dedicate ourselves in hearing and chanting about the Lord, then the purpose of vanaprastha and sannyas is also done. But we have to be, in that case, be careful that we don't get again into some social commitments and things like that, and all of those things. But yeah, in in traditional society, that's what Vanaprastha and sannyas is. In Kali Yuga, first of all, there are no forests to go one prasthan. All forests are gone. It's become all concrete jungle everywhere. It's no longer tree jungle. Even if we go there, people don't have that courage and faith in depending on the Lord completely. Um, and it's difficult to meditate in there, all these things. So therefore, in Kali Yuga, it's recommended Daivi Varnashram system, that whichever system we follow, we become, whichever system we follow, we actually uh, put Krishna in the center of our family.
And then there is no sannyas.
Yeah, I mean, the sannyas means sat nyas, which means we are completely dedicated to sat, to absolute truth. So if we are completely dedicated to absolute truth by hearing and chanting about Krishna, that's the goal.
Okay.
But traditionally, yes, this is the progression and the purpose of each of the ashrams.
Sure.
But
Thank you
Kali
for
Yuga
explaining.
society, modern society does not support this kind of an ashram. Uh, these different kinds of ashrams, but traditionally, that's the whole purpose.
Thank you so much for explaining so beautifully.
Thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna.
A beautiful
Hare
question.
Krishna.
And
And
lots.
I just want to, this you will be very, very happy. Also, my father was blessed many times by Srila Prabhupada. And my buaji, like my entire, most of our, even us also. And we had especially my Tauji, my father's elder brother. He was a huge, huge devotee, some connection he had with him. So he used to tell us a lot of stories about him. And he used to say, and then he used to say, okay, fine. So it was our the pastimes and everything we have heard so much from him. And my father used to say, and then the last time when he had come to Vrindavan, that time also, that day I wanted to say, but due to some emergency, I could not glorify Srila Prabhupada. So sorry for that. And and I am always amazed, I just in awe and wonder, how can a person be like this, And my father always used to just say, "Pata nahi kya the wo," he used to say that he was just in form of Krishna, he used to feel that he was just Krishna on this modern, let's say over here in this. So he used to tell us all those beautiful, beautiful pastimes. And he used to narrate them so beautifully. And he used to just, whenever he used to know that he has come, he has last time this, and he used to just run, and he used to be in ISKCON only. I have seen him so much over there, and it's now we are learning from you. I'm learning from you, and I'm feeling, wow, he- it's so beautiful. It's so nice. It's so wonderful. Thank you for making us, all these connections and all these memories, which are so beautiful, so divine. Thank you once more for all these yatras and everything.
Thank you.
We are deep, deep gratitude towards you. I would also thank.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Very grateful to you. Thank you.
No, no, I'm not grateful to you, please. That's the thing.
Hare Krishna. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Lavanya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Prabhuji, Tadavat Panakoti Koti Pranam to your lotus feet, Mataji. Mataji, I'm having small confusion, Mataji. Actually, Yashoda Mata, she has given birth to the Vrindavan Krishna, but someone there says that Krishna, Yashoda Mata is not given birth to Krishna, so her desire not filled. But after, in Kali Yuga, she has given birth to the Venkateshwara Swami, and she fulfilled her desire, Mataji. So you told that she has given birth to the Vrindavan Krishna. Devaki Mata given Vasudev Krishna. So small confusion, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
This is actually an understanding that we have received, which is mentioned, in the revealed scriptures. It's there that how Krishna actually appeared from Mother Yashoda also. This is a scriptural reference that we are giving. and that Krishna did, in fact, Mother Yashoda gave birth to twin kids, one girl and one boy, in fact. Yogamaya was also born from Mother Yashoda. So she gave birth to two babies, one Krishna and one is Yogamaya, so boy and a girl. So Krishna, when Vasudev brought, Vasudev Krishna from Mathura, Vasudev, Krishna's father, he could not see Vrindavanendra Krishna. He couldn't see. So he just put Krishna down there next to Mother Yashoda and he took the girl. But, there is a thing that, both the Krishnas actually became one. And when Akrura was taking Krishna away to Mathura, at that time, when they were taking bath in the Jamuna, at that time, Vrindavanendra Krishna stayed back in Vrindavan, and Vasudev Krishna went to Mathura with Akrura. So that is how it is explained. And this is from the scriptures, so we understand it that way. And, the fact that Mother Yashoda again gave birth to Venkateshwara Swami, that is also correct. It's not just because that she couldn't give birth and now she get, because the birthing process is not the way, normal women give birth. Krishna just makes his appearance, even Venkateshwara Swami, he just made his appearance. It's not that, just like how normal children come out, it's not the way that Krishna would take his birth. Krishna just made his appearance. He just appeared. That's why we say it's not the birth of Krishna, it is the appearance of Krishna. So we hope that this clarifies your doubt.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Any more questions? We thank all the devotees for your beautiful comments. So tomorrow we will be going to thank you for your beautiful comment, Rasika, Nutan Mataji, Vrinda Gopika Mataji, Krishna Sharanam Prabhu. Thank you all so much for your wonderful comments. We are really grateful to all of you. So tomorrow we will be going from Chirghat to Bhandiravan. We will be crossing the Jamuna and going to Bhandiravan tomorrow. And we will be going to the 8th and the 9th forest. Tomorrow we will be covering the 8th and the 9th forest, two forests tomorrow, Bhadravan and Bhandiravan. Harivol. And then on Sunday, many devotees have requested us that they would like to know how to perform the last 5 days of Kartik. So on Sunday, while
Which is
we
known as Panchaka.
Bhishma Panchaka. So on Sunday, while we are at Bhandiravan, we are going to discuss about the Bhishma Panchaka Vrata, that how to perform, why do we do everything of that. So we are going to have a brief discussion about Bhishma Panchaka Vrata, how to perform it, what are the different things that we should do, and all the details we will give you on Sunday evening, US time, which will be Monday morning, India time. So please do join us for that. And then we'll again continue on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We will again continue our Vrajamandal Parikrama. And then the last day, which is, next Sunday is the last day. Sunday, India time, Sunday evening in US time, and Monday morning, India time will be the last session for Vrajamandal Parikrama. And next week, we will also give you details on how we are going to continue our sessions from after we finish Vrajamandal also, what we will be doing next. We will be also sharing with all of you that our journey is not going to end here with Kartik. So please do stay tuned to find out what we are going to do right after Kartik, which we will be announcing next week.
Right. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhubhya Cha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Thank you all so much.